Before you guys think that I am attacking Brad Holmes, and you guys put in the comment section that I was already a Brad Holmes bashing YouTube channel, and that is incorrect. But I've been one of the rare ones, the few ones. I don't keep up with everybody, but I know that criticizing Brad Holmes in any way with what he's done with this team in the past 4.5 years is a travesty. It's almost a sin. You know, you can't do it. And I've been one that continues to do so, right? Because that's what he signed up to make this team a Super Bowl champion. And I will give him credit for everything that he's done up until now, taking a team from literally probably one of the worst rosters in the NFL. And in 2 short years, we are in the NFC Championship game, right? But we fell short of our ultimate goal. And while not taking anything away from what he's done, the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl. When you have your former quarterback win the Super Bowl the year that he was traded, and then has been in constant contention every year that he's been gone. And now you could argue that the Rams are a better team than us and probably more likely to win the Super Bowl this year than we are. That starts to weigh on you. But we will see how it plays out. I've never been a Brad Holmes truther. I've never been a basher. I've always just asked for accountability. That's all I've ever done. And it seems like that is critiqued. That is the part that's an issue. And as a Detroit Lions fan, I don't think there's anything wrong with being ultra demanding. Again, any Detroit Lions fan, how you fan is your business, and that's perfectly fine. But I just don't understand how any Lions fan, we should be like Eagles fans. We should be losing our mind at every second. We should be like other fan bases that demand greatness at all times, that even when you are a winning organization, you still demand more. That's what we should. We deserve it, right? But I wanted to talk about something, and I wanted to get your opinion, because again, this is us having a conversation. That's what this is. It might seem like I'm bashing Brad Holmes, but what I'm trying to do is give you my opinion and get yours in the comment section below. Dan Campbell had a press conference today, and he fielded a lot of questions about the NFL trade deadline and the lack of moves, why they thought that they could stand pat. And I think that's unfair. As you can see from the banner below, Brad Holmes goes ghost. Now, I did see a tweet from our guys at Detroit Sports Podcast. They said that they reached out to Brad Holmes to see if he would be on the Lone Wolf podcast, and he politely declined. Okay, but why didn't Brad get in front of the media yesterday and explain why the Detroit Lions, they stood their ground and didn't make a move? I think it was unfair to have Dan Campbell speak for him. When the general manager, most general managers, unless your name is Jerry Jones, they take a back seat during the season. Their time to shine is the entire offseason. We hear from Brad Holmes much more than we hear from Dan Campbell. During the season, we hear from Dan Campbell. During the trade deadline or a major move, usually you will hear from the general manager, because the general manager is the person that had the ultimate decision-making in that process. And I think the question is, why did Brad Holmes not get in front of the media? And do you think it was unfair to Dan Campbell? I do. I don't like it. It's not a good look to me. It's not. You should be able to answer. Andrew Berry has been ducking the media as well. He has been ducking the media ever since he traded Joe Flacco, because it was his decision to trade Joe Flacco to a division rival. Now you could argue and say, okay, well, no moves were made. He didn't have to get in front of the media. I disagree with that. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. You know that during the NFL season, you don't, so that you're not a distraction, you don't say anything. The last time we heard from Brad Holmes, and then we had to hear from Sheila, is when the Lions were 1-6 in 2022. Outside of that, Brad has been ghost during the season, except the NFL trade deadline. He got in front of the media about TJ Hockenson. He got in front of the media about Donovan Peoples-Jones. He got in front of the media about Zadarius Smith. Why didn't he get in front of the media and address the lack of moves at the trade deadline? I think because he didn't want to hear it. He heard it all off season. He heard specifically about the pass rush all off season. See, I wasn't the only one just talking about the pass rush. Now, yesterday or any dialogue involving the trade deadline, we might not have heard anything about the pass rush. We would have heard about ask questions. Okay, well, why did you think we didn't have to make a move? And I understand that we got some roster stuff to talk about. That video will be pushed back. The power rankings, if you guys care, I'm still going to go through with it. And the Detroit Lions defensive rank through, those will be released on Thursday, because we have more pressing issues to talk about right now. Stuff that I think is more urgent. I think it was very lame of him not to get in front of the media. You guys are, now you could, I don't know about y'all, but as a man, I'm not going to have another man speak for me. That's just period. Now, if we are on the same wavelength and we're brothers and we're happy and we're singing and we're general manager and coach, then that's fine. That's fine. But this is the one time during the season that you come out and say something, whether or not it's something we want to hear. See, we have to hear you say, So y'all asking about pass rush because Aiden Hutchinson out, right? That's why you asking about a pass rush. That's why you asked about a defensive end. How many teams in the National Football League? 32, right? How many elite defensive ends would you say we have? And you say we got one of them, right? You can do all of that during the offseason. You can take all the questions and say, but when it's time to address the lack of moves at the trade deadline, you don't come out and say anything, and then Dan Campbell has to speak for you in a press conference, but you didn't get up there and own up and take responsibility. I don't like this at all. I don't like it at all. I think and look, y'all got to understand something. I don't want to be right about this stuff. I don't. I hope that we have a Super Bowl roster. I hope that whatever Detroit Lions roster moves they make, that it is Super Bowl winning. I don't mind being wrong because it means my team is a champion, that I got to see that in my lifetime. Yes, I talk about being right. It comes with the swag. And when you're on YouTube and your opinion is criticized, like Brad Holmes, you have to form a certain type of arrogance, right? And no doubt Brad has done that. But there are times that you got to man up. If the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl, if they win the Super Bowl with this roster, then I got to man up and say, he was right. I'm sorry, right? Why didn't you take that opportunity and say, hey, this is why we didn't do it? Is it because you don't want to hear the same questions over and over? I just think I don't like that at all. We hear from this guy. The last time we heard from him was as the season was ramping up and the preseason was ending, which was in August. September, October. We didn't hear anything from you. Trade deadline comes, we don't hear anything from you. You got Andrew Berry ducking the media. You have Howie Roseman coming out and teaching master classes after a master class in trading, coming off a Super Bowl championship. And you go ghost. I just don't like that at all. And it ain't even about being a man. It ain't even about that. It's about responsibility. You know that you don't come in front of the media at all during the season, except if something major happens. The trade deadline is a major happening. And you decided to not say anything. I just don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm wondering if things are finally starting to get to Brad Holmes. We had this conversation and y'all was killing me in the comment section when I said that he's starting to feel the heat. Y'all disagree with that. Listen, when I talk about this, I simply state facts. Y'all think that I talk about feelings a lot. And I know it sounds like I'm making this about me, but it's the fact that a lot of people coddle. I'm not that guy, right? So I have to y'all don't like what I say. Y'all don't care about what Brad Holmes is doing. It's about what I'm saying about what he's doing. Here are the facts. The facts are that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have 2.5 more years to be under contract. Now, what did you hear? What did you hear me say? Did you hear me say, I think they should be fired? Did you hear me say that they don't need to be the general manager of the Detroit Lions and the coach of the Detroit Lions? That's what you heard me say. That's not what I said. The fact of the matter is that they are under contract for the rest of this year, the year after that, and the year after that. And then them and Jared Goff can be free. They need a new contract. Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions have a potential out. That's one of the reasons that I think Jared Goff, his contract was structured the way it is, exactly with a potential out right around the time Brad and Dan's contract expires. Now, what you didn't hear me say is that they are going to be fired. What you didn't hear me say is that they're not going to be renewed. What you heard me say is a fact, which is right now, their contract is through 2027. So the question that I have for you is, what is it going to take for both Brad and Dan to earn a contract extension beyond 2027? If we don't make the playoffs or the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, do you think that one or both get extended this offseason? There's no wrong answers. I'm just trying to gauge the fan base. I have a feeling, and I said this in the earlier video, that Sheila is going to extend both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I think that they had a 5 and 6 year deal respectively, I believe. One got 2 years, one got 1, which put them at the same ending point. So they had a 5-6 year deal, a 1-2 year extension, if I remember correctly. So what would you say that they should be extended if Sheila decides to extend them after this season? Because I think if it's going to happen after this season. They earned an extension with getting us to somewhere we hadn't been in over 30 years. And it was rightfully earned. Will they have earned anything less than a Super Bowl appearance, an NFC Championship appearance? Do you think that they've earned another extension? And if so, for how long? That's tough. If they get to the Super Bowl, yes. If they make it to the Super Bowl, having 2 years left, I think you got to give them, maybe you give them another 3. You give them another 3, it'll be 10 years total, and see what they can do after a decade of running the Detroit Lions. It would be nice to have some continuity in this space with our team, 100%. But it also would be nice to go further and get to the ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl. So if they make the Super Bowl, to me, extension. If they win the Super Bowl, blank check at that point. I mean, whenever that happens. If they win the Super Bowl, and when I say blank check, I mean like, okay, you know what? You've proven that you can get this done. You're gonna really have to fall off a cliff for us not to believe in you. Like you just tank year after year after year after year. It seems like you're losing it. Outside of that, if you win a Super Bowl, the choice is yours. That's where we at. The choice is yours at that point. So give me your thoughts on Brad Holmes failing to address in any way the media at the trade deadline. Why did he make the decision to not do anything? And how do you feel about Dan Campbell speaking for him? And he didn't say, well, Brad Holmes said this, but he fielded the questions. Brad and he came to me, blah, blah, blah. Brad should be answering those questions. This is his time. That's like Dan answering some questions for Brad in free agency. I just don't like it. Let me know your thoughts. And yes, we will get on the roster moves later. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. I have some big plans for the offseason, different segments. I'm trying to figure out all my audio issues. I am determined, like I told you guys yesterday, I think that just like Brad Holmes and year 5 will be a wake-up call for him and this team for our future. This kind of shook me too. Sometimes you can't be content with how you are. You got to try new things. You have to introduce something different. So that's what I'm going to do this offseason. I'm going to work on a lot of things, from segments to guests to a lot of, and they're not going to all be in the offseason. Some you will see before that. But I am driven more than ever because I told you guys yesterday, when I lose my passion, then I'm done. But not only do I have a passion for the Detroit Lions and talking about the Detroit Lions, I have a passion for doing YouTube and the fan base and community that we built. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I feel like that this is kind of a weird time. To me, The last time I think I felt this weird is when we were 1-6. Because when we go after the way that we ended, as devastating as 2022 was, just missing out on the playoffs, we had taken care of our business and we knew we were out before we even took the field. That was one of the hardest moments for me on YouTube. And I remember saying to myself, my team got up and fought. I got to fight. I was devastated, man, because it had been so long since we had tasted the postseason. This year feels different. It feels like something is off. It feels like something is off. Something feels off. And we'll find out what it is, or if anything is off at all. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.